Close your eyes for a moment and take yourself back to 1975. The AM radio is playing Fleetwood Mac or maybe a little CCR. The summer sun is warm, and the air smells faintly of gasoline from the corner station. Kids are riding their bikes without helmets. Neighbors are mowing their lawns, and the streets are lined with cars that seem like something out of a dream today. Long hoods, chrome bumpers, and those glorious vinyl roofs shining in the sun. Back then, cars weren't just a way to get around. They were part of your family story. They took you on vacations, brought you home from your first date, and carried you to your very first job. Today, we're looking at 10 classic cars everyone drove in the 1970s. The vehicles that defined an era and gave a generation its wheels. Number 1. Ford Pinto. The Ford Pinto was built for a very simple reason. America needed a small, affordable car to compete with imports like the Volkswagen Beetle and Toyota Corolla. Launched in 1971, the Pinto became a huge hit almost overnight. It was inexpensive, easy to park, and perfect for college students, first-time car buyers, or small families. Its little four-cylinder engine sipped gas at a time when fuel prices were starting to rise. But of course, the Pinto is just as famous for its controversy. Its rear gas tank design led to some tragic accidents and lawsuits that made headlines. Even so, for much of the decade, the Pinto was everywhere. It symbolized practicality and freedom for those who just needed a simple car to get around. Number 2. Chevy Impala. If you grew up in the 70s, chances are you rode in the backseat of an Impala at least once. The Impala was Chevrolet's full-size family workhorse. Big, smooth, and dependable. It had roomy bench seats where kids could sprawl out, and a trunk big enough to swallow half the groceries from the Piggly Wiggly. It wasn't a flashy car, but it was the kind you could load up with luggage, turn the key, and know it would take you wherever you were headed, whether that was church on Sunday or a road trip across state lines. For many families, the Impala wasn't just transportation. It was where childhood memories were made. Number 3. AMC Gremlin. The AMC Gremlin was one of the strangest looking cars of the decade, and that's exactly why people remember it. Launched in 1970, it had a short, chopped-off back end that made it look different from anything else on the road. Some people joked about its design, but for first-time car buyers, it was a cheap, reliable way to get behind the wheel. It became a favorite for high school and college kids who wanted something a little fun and funky. Its bright colors, lime green, orange, and even purple, gave it personality. And for many, their first car keys were attached to a Gremlin. Number 4. Pontiac Firebird Trans AM. Nothing turned heads in the 1970s, quite like a black Pontiac Trans AM, with that giant golden, screaming chicken decal on the hood. This car wasn't about practicality. It was about attitude. With its roaring V8 engine, T-top roof panels, and aggressive styling, the Trans Am was the car you drove if you wanted to be noticed. Hollywood helped make it a legend. Thanks to Smokey and the Bandit, the Trans Am became a pop culture icon. It was loud, rebellious, and pure 1970s cool. A car that told the world you were going places, and you were going fast. Number 5. Chevy Nova. The Nova might not have been as flashy as the Firebird, but it was one of the most versatile cars of the decade. It was simple, sturdy, and incredibly easy to work on, which made it a favorite among gearheads and backyard mechanics. You'd see Novas in suburban driveways, high school parking lots, and even on drag strips after few performance upgrades. It was the kind of car you could turn into anything: a family sedan, a commuter, or a sleeper hot rod that surprised everyone at the stoplight. Number 6. Dodge Dart. The Dodge Dart earned a reputation for being practically indestructible. Owners swore these cars could run forever with just basic maintenance. Its straightforward design made it affordable and dependable. The kind of car you bought once and kept for years. For a lot of families, The Dart was the car that eventually got passed down to a teenager as their first set of wheels. It wasn't glamorous, but it was trustworthy, and for many, it was the car that taught them how to drive. Number 7. Ford LTD. If there's one car that sums up the 1970s, it's the Ford LTD. This thing was huge, with a hood that seemed to stretch on for miles, and an interior so spacious it felt like a living room on wheels. The LTD was made for road trips, and families loved piling in and heading out on long stretches of highway. Despite its size, it had a smooth, comfortable ride that made you feel like you were floating. It wasn't the easiest thing to parallel park, but once you were cruising, nothing felt more American. Number 8. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. By the mid-1970s, it seemed like every driveway had a Cutlass Supreme parked in it. And for good reason. It was stylish, but not over the top, with a smooth, quiet ride and just enough power under the hood to make it fun. The Cutlass hit the sweet spot between luxury and affordability, which is why it became one of the best-selling cars in America year after year. For many people, this was the car they proudly washed on Saturday mornings and kept looking showroom fresh. Number 9. Volkswagen Beetle. Even though it was German, the VW Beetle became one of the most beloved cars in America. Its bubbly shape, simple mechanics, and affordable price made it the perfect choice for students, first-time car buyers, and anyone looking for something different. It was also one of the most recognizable cars ever built, from the sound of its little engine to the way it looked parked under a tree on a college campus. For many, the Beetle represented freedom, fun, and a slightly countercultural spirit that fit perfectly with the 1970s. Number 10. Chrysler New Yorker. If you wanted something luxurious but didn't quite want to step up to a Cadillac, the Chrysler New Yorker was your answer. It had everything: big, cushy seats, wood grain trim, smooth handling, and plenty of chrome. It made you feel important just sitting behind the wheel. The New Yorker was for the person who wanted to make a statement, that they'd worked hard and earned a car that made every drive feel like an occasion. The cars of the 1970s were more than just machines. They were characters in our lives. They took us on family vacations, gave teenagers their first taste of freedom, and were there for some of the best memories of a generation. Which of these classics do you remember riding in, or maybe even owning? Let us know in the comments. And if you loved this nostalgic trip, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us again for more journeys back in time.